Hey, Dennis, I think anytime you're ready.
Okay, great. All right, all the people that are wanting to enter have entered. All right. Okay, folks, welcome to the July meeting of the Brighton Zoning Board of Appeals. Rick, let's begin by calling the roll.
Mr. Primo,
Here.
Ms. Schwartz,
Here.
Ms. Tompkins Wright,
Here.
Mr. DeAugustine,
Here.
Mr. Mites,
Here.
Ms. McKay Drury,
Here.
and Ms. Schmidt.
Here.
Let the record show all members are present.
Okay, Rick, and was the meeting properly advertised, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, was advertised in the Daily Record of June 30th, 2022.
Okay, very good. And tonight we do have 5 applications. Is there anything you would like to discuss about those before I talk about the meeting itself?
I have nothing unless any members have any questions regarding any of the applications.
Okay, very good. All right, so for those of you who are not familiar with the Zoom format and the format of the zoning board, what we will do is there are 5 new applications that we need to hear tonight. When you hear the application called by Mr. DeStefano, please identify yourself as the speaker, and then we will allow you to present your application. You should talk to the board members as it relates to why you feel your application, should be approved and what you're trying to do. The board members then will ask any questions they would like to ask. Once we finish that, we will check on the call to see if there's anyone who wants to speak regarding your application. If there is, they will speak. If there isn't, we will close the public hearing and move on to the next application. After we hear them all, we will go back to the beginning and deliberate. You're welcome to listen on the call for the deliberation portion. If you decide not to, because we do make our decisions tonight unless there was an application that would be tabled for some reason, you would hear the decision tonight. If you don't want to stay on the call, you could call Mr. DeStefano at the Brighton Brighton Building Department tomorrow, and he would let you know the result of your application. Okay. So,
Mr. Chairman, can I just make a comment, please?
Yes,
If
yes.
I could have everybody in the audience just turn off your video until you're called on to speak to the board. It just makes the screen a little easier for us to see. I really appreciate that.
okay, very good.
Thank
All right, well
you.
then, whenever, Rick, that you're ready to call the first application, please go.
We got some minutes to take care of.
Oh, gee, no, that was a
We
Freudian
were just
thing.
talking about those
Oh my
minutes.
God, I'm looking at the pile right here. Okay, yes, we have 3 sets of minutes. I'm so sorry. Oh boy, I was just trying to avoid that. No, April's, May, and June. Okay, so let's talk about April first. Any comments on April? Go ahead, Judy, please.
Yes, it's page 25. There are no numbers, so I'm just going to go down and tell the person who's speaking. It's down near the bottom. It's Mrs. Smullen. The last word should be Middlebrook. Middlebrook. Page 233. Oh gosh, second paragraph, 4th line, starting with locate, delete the word deep. Page, hold on, 52. Oh gosh, Mr. Carlucci is speaking down near the bottom. The line starts with homeowner, and almost at the end, the word should be planting. Page 60, the very last line, the very last word is garage. Page 61, the very end of paragraph 1, please insert the word be after actually be, B-E. Page 72. Let me see, we're on the conditions 1 and 2 up at the very top of the page. It seems to me that the 2 should go together because the first one seems incomplete. So I would have it read, don't write it yet, but let me read 1 based on the plan submitted testimony given this permit is for a maximum of 12 months from issuance. Because otherwise 1 based on the plan submitted testimony given Well, maybe based on, all right, maybe strike it, okay. Page 74, 1, 2, third person, second person speaking, Mr. DeStefano, second line starting with conditions should be T and R. The same thing is true on page 75, the very end of paragraph 2. And the same thing true under Mr. Gordon for a little further down the page. Page 78, 1, 2, 3. This is Heather speaking, Ms. McKay Drury. Third line down, the third word should be word. Page, oh my, maybe that's it. No, hold on. Page 102. This is Rick DeStefano talking. The second line, third word is garage. Page 110. 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph down. Willard should be avenue. Avenue. Page 114. Second paragraph, third line, third word should be fence, F-E-N-C-E. And that is all I have.
Okay, is there any other comments on the April minutes? Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Move we approve the April minutes as corrected.
Second.
Okay, got a second?
Second, Judy.
Yep,
Motion is to approve with corrections, the April minutes. Mr. Primo,
Yeah,
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins Wright,
Yes.
Mr. DiAugustine,
Yes.
Mr. Mites,
yes,
Ms. McKay Drury,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt.
Yes.
The motion to approve with corrections carries.
okay, how about the May minutes?
Ready?
Yep,
Okay. Page 17, line 19. I'm not sure if it should be side or site, but it's talking about the church and it says, property owner has the right to egress and ingress and parking on that side based on the easement, or parking on that must be side based on the easement, right?
I think it's
Side.
side, Judy.
Side, okay, side, all right. It seemed, yes, line page 36, up at the top, line 1, the third word is R, A-R-E. Page 55, line 21, towards the end of the line, the word should be chance, good chance. Page 59, line 20, the word is C-H-I-L-I, Chili. Page 77, line 7, the second word is back, B-A-C-K. Page 100, line 13. I'm pretty sure this fourth word should be shelter, not smelter, right?
yeah,
Okay,
right,
talking about the things on the roof. On page 122, I have a question mark here with lines 16, 17. We're talking, Andrea, this is yours, about the grassroots movement, and it says, my problem with that is they could put on that second side without this variance, right? Second?
Yes.
All
Second,
right,
as in
that's what I
two.
thought. Okay. Page 130, line 13, under, this is conditions. Little bit halfway in, the word should be plans, P-L-A-N-S. Page 132, line 3, the second part of the word should be finding. Page 134, line 23, again towards the middle of the page, it should be plans, Plans. Page 152, line 7, the first word should be leaning, Leaning. Line 10, the third word should be Be. Page 163, the first, line 20, the first word should be buffering. Page 174, line 10, the first word should be line. Page 178, line 19, the fourth word should be applies. And that's all I have.
Does anyone else have anything for the May minutes? Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Okay. Can we have a motion, please?
I move
Move
to
to-
approve minutes. Oh, sorry, Andrea.
Andrea with the
Go ahead,
motion. And Ed with the second.
Yes, that sounds good.
The motion is to approve the May minutes with corrections. Mr. Primo,
Yeah,
Mr. Schwartz,
Yes,
Ms. Tompkins Wright,
Yes.
Mr. DiAugustine,
Yes.
Mr. Mites,
Yes,
Ms. McKay Drury,
yes.
Ms. Schmidt.
Yes.
Let the record show the minutes were approved with corrections.
okay. And then the last one we have is the June shorter one. Does anyone have anything? I know, Judy, you were not there.
No,
Does anyone
was
have
there, but-
anything for the June meeting?
couldn't hear. Right.
Anything for June? Going once, going twice? Okay. Can someone make a motion for June?
Motion to approve June minutes.
Right, second.
Second, Andrea.
The motion is to approve the June minutes. Mr. Primo,
yeah,
Ms. Schwartz,
Abstain,
Ms. Tompkins Wright,
Yes.
Mr. DiAugustine,
Yes.
Mr. Mites,
Yes,
Ms. McKay Drury,
yes.
Ms. Schmidt.
Yes.
Let the record show the motion to approve carries.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, just let me state, I failed to do that earlier, that if anybody on the call is here for applications 5A0122 and or 5A0222, they were applications for 2720 West Sumner Road. Those two applications have been adjourned to a future meeting. So they will not be heard tonight.
Okay, very good. So whenever you're ready then, sir, please proceed.
Application 7A0122, application of John and Vanessa Gear, owners of property located at 2171 West Seminary Road for a temporary invocable use permit pursuant to section 219-4 to erect a 30 by 30 foot tent partially covering an outdoor dining area for the summer and fall months of 2022. All subscribed an application and plans on file.
Okay, and who do we have speaking for the restaurant?
Hi, this is John Gear.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Whenever you're ready, please proceed.
Yeah, so we're looking to put up the 30 by 30 tent on our north patio. We're not changing anything, but nothing with tables, nothing with chairs, everything's the same. Just putting the tent up to keep us and our friends and stuff, our patrons in the shade and sometimes out of the rain. It is the only shade that we do have on the property, since we have all fresh landscaping and everything there.
Okay. And how long will this tent exist?
Just till the end of October.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
That's it.
Okay. Questions by the board members, please.
Hi, it's Member Schmidt. I just have a few questions. Can you refresh my recollection? The outdoor seating has been previously approved, that's correct?
Yes, it has.
Yes. And when you're just talking about a tent, no nighttime lighting, music, anything like that?
No,
Okay. And the parking situation will not change. You're not using anything that will encroach onto parking spaces. Is that correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Great, thank you.
This is Member Wright. I think you said this already, but you're not increasing tables or chairs
Yeah, we are not.
outside. It'll be conducted the same way that it is now. It'll just be under a
Yes. Yeah. And this is a commercial tent, fire retardant. It's an expensive tent. It's made for this specifically.
So John, does the tent have sides, and are those sides down all the time, or what do you do with the sides?
Yep. So no sides at all. It's just opened and anchored and just an overhead, canopy.
And did you give any thought to just doing the typical umbrellas, attached to the tables?
Yeah. So we did the umbrellas. It's kind of a little wind tunnel over there. So we've spent a fortune on umbrellas because they get damaged with just, we always call it over there, it's like the Bermuda Triangle over there. We get storms when no one else is getting storms. We got wind storms, we get some rain. We've accumulated quite a cost on umbrellas. They haven't worked out and they're quite dangerous. We don't serve out there, on storms or raining or anything like that, of course, anyway, but just sometimes the wind just gust up out of nowhere and has caused us problems in the past. And not to mention, we've had some theft over there.
So would I be led to understand that you are going to serve now if it rains, or if it rains, you still won't be using the actual tent?
No, we won't be using the tent if it rains. But if someone wants to go sit under there, eat some ice cream, people seem to quite enjoy it.
Okay. Any other questions by the board members?
Dennis, I have one.
Go ahead, Ken.
Mr. Geet, is there table service
Yes, there is.
in the outdoor area? And that's currently and with the tent, yes?
Yes, we have a north and a south patio.
When will this tent come down for the season?
Yeah, so we're thinking it would be nice to have it from May to the end of October.
And then the tent and all the poles or whatever else will be stored inside after that?
Yes, it would.
Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Just
Okay,
one
thanks.
more thing, John, being in October, you get some pretty chilly days. Are you looking to provide heat for this tent?
No.
Okay.
No, we're just, hopefully we
Well,
get some,
No heating or anything like that for the tent itself?
right. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Any other questions for Mr. Gear? Okay, John, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Is there anyone on the Zoom call that would like to speak regarding this application? Okay, there being none, then the public hearing is closed.
Application 7A0222, application to the University of Rochester, owner of property located at 300 East River Road for renewal of a temporary local use permit pursuant to section 219-4 to erect two tents and hold up to 3 outdoor special events for the years 2022 and 2023. Also grab an application and plans on file.
Okay, and who do we have speaking for U of R?
Doreen, London.
And Barry McHugh.
Okay, folks, then go ahead and proceed, please.
We will have the larger tent, which is on the parking lot. It's 130 by 60. That is the one that we would do twice a year for our commencement and for Meliora weekend. It is up and down within a week. The smaller tent, which is the 20 by 40, the people in that building are looking for it to be up from May 1st to October 30th for an additional outside space for them to be able to break in and or have meetings in, since most of them have been working remotely for the last 2 years. They're not all very excited, I could say, about coming back working inside the office. So we're transitioning.
Okay, now on a regular basis, then, if that's going to exist through the whole season, will people like be going out there to eat? What will they be doing out there?
They would be having meetings and possibly taking a break, eating their lunch, just going outside to get away from inside the building and with their computers, because the Wi-Fi still does work in that space.
Okay, but there wouldn't be any organized food service or anything, I guess. Is
No.
the question. Okay.
No,
Just they'd bring their sandwich out there or something.
correct.
Have it, okay. Okay, very good. Any other, are you guys, anything else you want to add? I'm sorry.
I don't have anything, Barry, do you?
No, Meliora is our homecoming weekend, if you don't know what that is, so. That's that, along with graduation. It's a reception tent.
Okay, so there would be probably some food service on that weekend out there?
On the large tent, correct.
Right.
They would be catered by the university.
Okay.
This is member right, is the usage plan for the next 2 years relatively consistent with the uses of the tent, size of the tents and the uses for the previous 2 years?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And this is a question for U of R, for the applicant, but also I guess for Rick as well. Any issues reported in the past with, based on the area, I'm guessing you don't have neighbors complaining about noise or music or anything like that, but were there any complaints, any issues with the tents for the last 2 years?
No, actually, we don't usually put lights in either one of those tents, so it's like a dusk till dawn or dawn till dusk type situation. We've not had any complaints.
And there is no music.
Okay.
This is member Schwartz. I have a couple of questions for tent number 2, because 1 has been done in previous years and it's been okay. I'm a little concerned about trash because it's not a catered event. And so it won't be cleaned up on, naturally by the catering service. So what are you planning for trash receptacles, or is it carry out or whatever for tent number 2?
Tent number 2 is carry in, carry out, because it is basically just the person that is going out there to eat their lunch, they would take their trash back in. There are 2 trash receptacles outside of the door entering the building, so they can utilize those.
Okay, and how often would those be emptied? Because it will be food and it's outside and warm weather.
Every day they get emptied.
They do, okay.
Yes.
Are
By
these
our
out
grounds
there all the
crew.
time? So these wouldn't be new trash receptacles just for this tent going up, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
And there is no catering.
I know that, right.
Okay.
Right. No, I meant as far as maintenance is concerned for the building, how often? And you're saying on a daily basis, okay. How many people will be able to fit under this smaller tent?
48 is the max capacity.
Okay, how are you going to prevent it from being used on the weekends? Let's say, somebody in the office says, oh, I've got a great picnic spot. I know it won't be used. And a group going over, how will you manage that?
That would be the department, our public safety department would take care of that, because they monitor that area all the time.
Okay, so there would be no concern then for it to be being used off hours and so forth.
No.
And on
Correct.
weekends.
It is parole, there's on a parole cycle and it's 7 days a week.
Okay, okay. Oh, and what style will that tent be? Is it just a canopy? They're gonna be sides or what?
It has two sides. It has one on the short end and one on the long end. So it's half open facing the building. So that's how they would have it set up.
Okay. Do you have such a tent on at any other facility on the overall campus?
No, we have outside areas for them that we don't need to have tents. We have like patios and
Okay,
outside gathering areas.
okay, all right. I think you've answered my questions. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other questions by the board members, please?
Dennis, this is Ken. I just have a couple. And really one of them is just a point of clarification. The second tent, this is a new application, not a renewal for the second tent. Is that
Right.
right?
That is correct.
Okay. So I didn't know if I heard member right correctly, but it sounded like you were saying, have there been problems with the tents in the past? And I just want to make sure the board understands that tent number 2 is brand new. It hasn't existed in the past. What are you putting under the tent? What, like tables, chairs, fireplaces, what?
There are only tables and chairs under, are we referring to number 2?
Number 2.
Yes, it's just tables and chairs and fire extinguishers.
And seating for 48 people in tent number 2, is that what I heard you say?
Yes, correct.
And what's the surface it's getting set up on? Is it grass? Is it pavement? What is it?
They would put a floor, they would install a floor. So it would be a hard surface.
Is it a raised floor?
Yeah, it's like an inch high.
Okay. Any electricity being run out to that?
No,
And that tent and the platform would come down, you said, at the end of October and be stored somewhere inside on campus, yes?
correct. Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, well, thank you very much. And is there anyone on the Zoom call that would like to speak regarding this application? Okay, then there being none, then the public hearing is closed.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Application 7A0322, application of Michael Belichick and Patricia Hogan Miller, owners of property located at 186 Dale Road, for an area variance from section 207-2A to allow a 6.5 foot high fence in a front yard area in lieu of a maximum 3.5 foot high fence is allowed by code. I'll describe an application and plans on file.
Okay, and who do we have speaking for this application?
Hi, this is Michael Polishek,
Okay, Michael, when you're ready, please proceed.
please. I'm wondering if you could put up the color layout. There we go. Might be a little easier to understand. So our residence is a flag lot. And you can see the blue line is the driveway. Dale Road is to the left, where we come down the driveway. And the application is that we have a 6'6" fence along our driveway, which is owned by the neighbor. And that's the brown roof in the foreground. And by code, we are only permitted to have a 42-inch fence along the same area, given that that's technically our front yard, whereas it's her backyard. This fence has been in disrepair for the better part of 2 years. Only recently has most of the fence been repaired. But in that repair, the repairs have been not what you could call a restoration. But yes, it's the red portion of the line is their fence that is 6'6" high, but was in disrepair. The corner piece of the red is now all intact, albeit not a great job, as I say, restoration not. Anyway, so, and also all of the yellow that you see is neighbors' fences, all 6'6". So our driveway is essentially lined with high fences. And we're gardeners. We enjoy the surroundings of our house. And this is a beautiful spot until a tree fell. And you can kind of see diagonally from red to red in the backyard, that's the tree trunk, which still remains. It did a tremendous amount of damage, both to their fence, but also across the way to our gardens. And we've restored the garden on one side, but the fence on her side is really out of keeping with the rest of the entryway. And of course, this is our this is where guests first get their first impression. So it's important to us, but also not mentioned in the application. We often have deliveries that are mistaken for either for us, for the neighbor's house, or the reverse of that. It gives us pause for wonder sometimes what might happen in an emergency. We've had Google change their map 3 times. I'm sorry, 2 times. We've asked the 3rd time to once again try and get it correct, because it takes you to another place, not our house. At any rate, it's not obvious when you turn the corner into our driveway that it's our house that you're going to. It gives you the impression that it's the brown roofed house in front of us. And by allowing us to make a better fence, restore the gardens, and make that look a continuous, well, I don't know, look, that would make one think that when you're turning down that driveway, you are indeed coming back to a residence behind. And we have tried to work with a neighbor. We were always on good terms. We've been here 17 years. And when the tree came down, I'm not sure where it went off the tracks, but we haven't been able to restore that relationship. I have some hope that we'll be able to do that someday, but it doesn't look like it's something that has much possibility. I even offered to do the labor restoration on her fence. She would have to buy the materials, and she turned me down, unfortunately. So I'm not sure that we'll ever be able to make that restoration happen any other way than to make it happen on our side of the line. So essentially what we're asking here is to have a fence height of 6'6" that would match what the neighbors have. And this is just along the area in green. And I think that's it in a nutshell. Anything, Patricia? No. Okay. Any questions?
Okay, board members, any questions, please?
This is Member Wright. The height proposed is the exact height as the fence that the unrestored or the partially restored fence that's there now?
Yes, it is. Her fence is all the high fence.
Okay. And how close because it's not as if she's taking her fence down. So how close will this new proposed fence actually be to the fence that's already existing?
Her fence does not precisely follow the lot line. I had it surveyed, so we knew exactly where the points were. And we actually ended up cutting our driveway to make a more even strip of grass along there as a result of that. But at the left side of her fence at that corner is almost right on top of the line. The distance to our driveway from that line is about 4 feet. It's probably a little less than that at the other end. The driveway is now about 42 inches maybe from that lot line. And her fence is a little bit further back, but in the process of putting up the panels in the past couple of months, she, now knowing where the line is, has moved it over a little bit. And so I'm making a long story, but it varies. So it's not exactly along the line, but it's close. And then because we only have 3 feet to 4 feet, something like that in the area of her fence, we would have to do it pretty doggone close. We've talked about lots of possibilities for this, maybe not doing a continuous fence, maybe doing some lattice, but when it comes right down to it, it doesn't seem to be a solution unless we say we want to have the same privilege as having that high fence, and it'll be on our side of the line, but you may or may not be able to get back there.
So at any point, will it be, closer than like a foot to the other fence so that you couldn't get in between?
Yeah, I would say so.
Have
And
you, go ahead.
I would say you actually started to answer one of my other questions. What else have you considered in order to shield this? You mentioned kind of lattice. Have you considered kind of a less solid fence or plantings or things that would arborvitae, something that would hide that part that could be part of your plantings that would screen it without the need for a variance?
Sure, I think we've tried every possibility under the sun. So we're gardeners, we love gardening, and this would not be a fence that would not have plantings on it. In fact, with her permission, the neighbor, when we first moved here, we asked if we could put some plantings along climbing her fence, and she was okay with that, and as long as it didn't hurt the fence. And in fact, in years past, she welcomed me back in her backyard to make sure that the climbing stuff wasn't growing through her fence, which it would, unattended. Now she's not interested in having me back there. I guess I understand that. So there would be plantings as a part of this, but I don't know.
Well, can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
There's.
Just state your name for the record, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Patricia Hogan Miller. I'm Michael's wife.
Thank you.
There is not really enough space with the grass. I think it's 3 feet to put in plantings that would hide the repair of her fence and not grow into the driveway, especially with plowing snow and things. I mean, we have considered that.
And so the purpose of the fence is 100% screening, just screening of the neighbor's fence, essentially?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I have a question. You talked about the 2 fences not being so close that they touch, but having some space in between. Is there grass in between? And if so, how would that space be maintained if it's only a few inches?
I actually have always mulched that, even though I was technically putting a little mulch on her property. So it's grass right now. I think in our gardening plan that it would probably remain grass. In fact, I would put new grass in, or we would, I should say. But I use the term tempt. I would not want to tempt the line, so to speak. So that would mean that I would not put our fence on top of the line. I think that's, just to be careful, that would be set off from her fence. So it's not like we would possibly touch her fence or whatever. But as far as the bottom, where the skirt boards or whatever might approach the ground, that would be left up high enough to put mulch underneath. And so it would stop the weeds from growing.
So it's not a question of you having to figure out how to mow a 3-inch path between the 2 fences?
No.
Okay.
Rick, are there any regulations about how close neighbors can put fences to each other? I mean, because I know it has to be a few inches within your own property line for a fence permit generally, right?
Now, basically, you can go right up to the lot line.
Okay.
You know, we have a lot of instances in the town where somebody has a chain link fence. The neighbor wants a board-on-board screen fence, so those fences abut each other. Happens quite often.
Yeah, the preference is for the owner who's going to be installing the fence to have a current survey and give that survey to their fence contractor so that they can put that fence right on the property line. That would be the ideal situation.
As I said, we had the line surveyed and there's the markers in the ground and such. That was done last year.
I know, and you gotta remember that there is no rule that says you have to be right on top of the lot line.
Correct.
Obviously, a fence can be off the lot line.
Yeah, it can be inside, sure.
It just can't be outside property line.
Right, on her property. I'm wondering what type of fence you are installing, what each side will look like. I might have missed that in your materials, but if you could just describe that for me, please.
We don't have a proposed fence at this point, but what we've been working on is a wood fence. And that wood fence would by necessity have to be double-sided. In other words, not an A and a B side, because of the regulation that requiring the good side to our neighbor. Obviously, they might never see it, but we would respect that obligation. And by virtue of that, wanting a good side on our side, it would likely be an AA type situation.
Right, I just wanted to sort of make that point, and I'm glad that you were familiar with that provision of our town code.
Yes.
You say that it was important that you were really doing this for aesthetics and important to have a attractive entry to your home or towards your home down the driveway. And if there is only a single decorative side to the fence, it does need to face the adjacent property, not yours.
Yes, I understand.
This is member McKay Drury. I just want to make sure I understand. I'm looking at page 3 of 3 of your submissions with a photo. And I'm just trying to make sure that I understand. You're saying that currently now the fence has all been filled in, so there's not holes or gaps in the fence?
Yes, just recently, just in the last maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
I would add that that's only in the portion where it is along our driveway. The portion toward Corbett's Glen remains unrepaired.
Okay, so to the left of this picture on 3 of 3?
You know, I'm pull these out, Patricia. This is number 3 of 3. It's here, right
You might
there.
be able to pull it up.
Okay.
Brendan, can you pan down, see if you can find the page that
This is the last page I've got.
Before.
page up or
I just have these two, I think.
This is what I'm looking at.
there's 3 of 3 right there.
Yeah, that section is now continuous. She might attempt to do more work on it. As I said, it's pretty inconsistent in terms of the quality.
Okay, and then what you're concerned with is the aesthetics, because some of it's the new. Is it the color of the wood because of how it's that
No.
color that's newer, or is it something else? Because I'm just not seeing it in the picture.
If I could share a screen, I could show you more readily. I have a picture of it 3 weeks before the photo came, or before the tree came down. The fence was very nice. It was straight, it was true. And now it is all over the place. Up, down, she actually increased it in height in areas and higher than the original fence. Sometimes it leans in, sometimes it leans out. It's not what I would, it might be an adequate fence for somebody's backyard, certainly not for the entryway to our home. And the light and dark parts, as much as I'm really unhappy, because for 3 years I've been asking her to please get that tree taken down. It was so dangerous. The repair is not going to match the new, but at least you can make an attempt. And I understand that the the light boards don't match the dark boards, but
they will eventually.
they will, well, they will eventually, but I would make a comment that the neighbors on the other side of the driveway, one of them just put up a few years ago, a white plastic fence. It's pretty bright. And we have nice gardens along that area. And I said to that neighbor, would you mind if we painted the backside of your fence? And she says, it's what you see. I don't see it. Please paint it all you want. This won't be the case with this neighbor. If I said to her, could I put some gray stain on the white boards to kind of match it up a little bit? I'm going to guess that I'm going to be turned down flat.
And related to that, I'm wondering if you've had any communications with this neighbor about this application and gotten any feedback. Does this person have any idea that you're planning on putting up a fence right near this one?
Well, there's a sign out front that says a variance application. We've talked many times about the fence. I have 2 phone numbers for her. I've texted her, not about the variance, but about backyard things. And she has not responded to those, or she says, oh, I don't watch those phone numbers. I have to go bang on her door, and she's never, ever responded to me unless I'm standing in front of her door.
Okay, and then
I will comment that the neighbor did come in after the sign was posted on the property. The neighbor did come in through the building and planning department, reviewed the application, and we have not received comment back from her.
Okay. And then I also just wanted to make sure that I understand the plan for the land, the space between the 2 fences. So is it your understanding that none of her fence encroaches on your land, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then
you know, I'm sorry, the back portion that hasn't been repaired, I think that she's a little bit over the line. I don't care.
okay. So presumably some of the land that's between what will be 2 fences is hers, correct? So
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out.
Like inches.
Okay. And then what you had said, I think that I just missed it, but what you had said in response to member Schmidt's question about what will happen with like grass that's growing in there, how will it get trimmed, or any of that? What is the plan for that? I don't think I heard that portion.
I've always put mulch in there, tell you the truth. I've never wanted to mow it. But that's just enough to have a border at the bottom of the fence.
Okay. So your understanding is that no one will have to get in there to cut grass or weeds or whatever.
Yeah, I'll be the one.
Yeah, and if I could say something, so her fence is mostly 6 feet, except it's a little higher where the repair is. But maybe since she went into the town to see about the variance, she bought some kind of like bamboo, like a roll of bamboo, and she's put it on the inside of the fence now, so it sticks up 6 inches, so that she has 6.6 feet, I guess. So now there's 6 inches sticking up at the top of the fence of these thin little bamboo things. I know that's relevant to this decision, but it's just.
Mr. Belichick, this is Town Attorney Ken Gordon. I've asked our staff member to bring up this photograph. This is what you had in your packet as showing the fence prior to the tree damage. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And you described this as straight and true in terms
yes.
of how the fence appeared.
Yeah.
And Brendan, if you could now go back down to the current existing, that's the 3 of 3 picture again. Keep going. And this is what it looks like now.
Yes.
Except that she's filled in that one section.
Yeah, but it's good representation.
And it doesn't show perhaps as it would live, but it would appear that portions of the fence are leaning either in or out as opposed to how they showed
It does.
perfectly erect in the original picture that we looked at, correct?
It does vary. And when she saw that our surveyor stake in near the corner, she realized that she had a little more room than she thought. And she actually moved the fence over very slightly as well, which is not in line with the original fence that remains further toward Dale Road.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else applicants you would like to add?
No, I don't, no.
Okay, very good. And is there any other last questions by the board? I think we got a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right. Being that, is there anyone on the call that would like to speak regarding this application? Okay, there being none, then the public hearing is closed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Mhm. Bye.
Application 7A0422, application of the University of Rochester, owner of property located at 220 East River Road for renewal of a temporary local use permit pursuant to section 219-4 to allow a mobile MRI scanner to be on site for an additional 18-month period where not allowed by code. I'll start an application and plans on file.
Okay, and who do we have for U of R, please?
Hello, my name's Joshua Saxton. I'm a civil engineer at Pastor Associates.
Could you just give us your last name again, Josh? I'm sorry.
Saxton, Saxton.
Okay, very good. And an address for you, please.
242 West Main Street.
Okay, very good. Okay, go ahead.
So if you haven't driven by or if you weren't around for when this originally came to the board back in 2020, this was a temporary MRI trailer on a permanent slab that was proposed. This is kind of during the peak of COVID, where you had a lot of delays and backups for important medical procedures and testing. One of those being MRIs. So that was the main use for this tent and trailer, was to have it available for MRIs that are needed given the backup with COVID. Now in 2022, we were hoping that things would be a little better, but there is still a delay in getting some of these testing and scans for MRIs, in the Rochester area. So, keeping this trailer, operational is, very important, just to maintain, the lack of a health risk of, if it were to go away, people wouldn't be able to get MRIs. That's one of the main reasons for, continuing this operation of the trailer. The other use or reasoning behind continued use is that there are some existing MRIs that are going to be going offline in the coming 18 months for maintenance and repair. And it takes a while to repair these machines. So, having something like this, the temporary trailer available, would be, crucial for that as well, for when those go offline for an extended period of time, that there isn't a significant, delay for people to get, their MRI scans for the, for whatever procedures they may need. There's no proposed change at all, no additions, no modifications at all to the original design. It was built as designed. It's just basically a continued formality of getting the approval from this board to still maintain the trailer during the next 18 months while COVID is creating some issues, as well as some of the MRIs that are actually permanent going offline. So if the board has any questions at all, I'm here to answer any of them at this time.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, this is member McKay. I wanted to ask you, well, one of my questions is, I'm trying to understand, is there other MRI machines in this particular building or no?
I do not know the answer. I know that it was mainly in this MRI building. I know Walt's on the call as well at U of R, so I don't know if you can answer that question.
Sure, I'd be glad to answer that question. My name is Walt Petit. I'm the Director of Facilities Operations. That building actually has 2 MRIs existing, and it's actually, we're under a permit right now to add a third one was in shell space when the building was originally built. And that's anticipated to be done late this fall, early winter. And to continue what Josh was speaking of, as soon as that comes online, they're going to take off one of the other two MRIs and do a major upgrade on it, which really is the reason we're asking for an extension to maintain 3 operational MRIs throughout this duration, especially with the ongoing backlog of MRIs that are needed in the community. That's really the reasons we really need to extend the use of this. MRIs are backed up in scheduling almost 4 weeks, which is pretty difficult if you have an emergent situation that you need to have an MRI for.
This is Member Schwartz. I've noticed on the plan that you have 2 trees that are existing that are to be removed. Is there any possibility of keeping them? I know it's different than an MRI, but a tree's a tree. Any possibility?
That's a very good point. In the original proposal, they were relocated on property.
Oh,
We agreed to do that. It was actually part of the original plan. It was proposed. Like Josh said, literally nothing's being done. It's just that we actually saw the need for a 3rd MRI in the community. We proved it. We had to go through CTAB to get approval for a 3rd MRI, which we always thought we would need. That's why we built the shell space. That's actually an ongoing building permit right now in the town of Brighton for the 3rd MRI. And as soon as that's completed, they're going to take down one of the other 2 and put a new one in. But they really want this mobile one to continue throughout to maintain the need for MRIs in the community.
This is, Member Wright, just speaking about the need in the community. One of the things we discussed when we approved this initially was the fact that because it was during COVID, patient load was a little bit light, so that the existence of this additional MRI trailer was clearing a backlog, but really not increasing parking requirements at the site. What does that look like now? You know, is this a meaningful increase on the amount of patients that are able to come in and out? And is that going to be a strain on parking either now or in?
The original design of this whole campus did call for 3 MRIs. Essentially, we only had 2 when we opened, and we brought the mobile one in. It added the 3rd, and like I already mentioned, the shell space for the 3rd MRI permanent is ongoing right now, due to be done in I think November, December timeline, and then they're going to do the other one. So parking was always planned for 3 MRIs at this location.
I'm not sure if you know this, Walter, or if you might know this, but parking count based on square footage, are they close to code? Are they well over code?
I can't speak to it specifically. I would really have to go back to the original design when this building was built. But you know, it certainly passed all the reviews of the town of Brighton before it was built to get the building permit.
Andre, I believe they meet parking regulations at 1 space for 150 gross square feet.
If we added this MRI trailer to the square footage, any opinion on whether or not it would still meet code?
I don't think that the trailer itself would impact the need for parking on that site.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Prote, can I just ask one question? So in the future, when you have 3 units up and running that are in the building, will there ever be a need to bring this trailer back? Will you, when one goes down, can you work with the 2 remaining ones, or will you be back to us saying, hey, you know what, we need that 4th MRI while number 3 is being worked on? Possibility?
As far as the design of this whole thing, it's very mobile. In other words, when we were finished with it, the intent was to take it away. However, we had to heavily invested to put the infrastructure in place to make it work. So the intent is, if for some reason we were doing a major upgrade of a MRI in the future, we may come back to the town board and ask again, is it okay if we put this in place for 6 months? I'm not going to say that would never happen, but Healthcare being what it is, it's drastically always changing.
Thank you for that.
If I could ask a follow-up question, Mr. Poteet, this is Ken Gordon, I'm the town attorney. I just want to understand the sequencing here. So if I understand correctly, there's going to ultimately be 3 MRIs inside of 3 permanent shelters or structures, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when will that be accomplished by? What's the outside date on that?
We think by midsummer of next year. That's why we asked for an extension to August. I will say that we have experienced dramatic delays in supply chain issues across all of our construction projects. So it's our hope that we'll be done before August of next year.
You're not alone with that delay. Okay, very good. That helps me. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, other questions for these gentlemen? Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone on the call that would like to speak regarding this application? Okay, there being none, then the public hearing is closed.
Application 7A0522, application of Srinagesh Ramaswamy, owner of property located at 67 Ranchwood Lane for an area variance in section 207-2A to allow front yard fence to be 4.5 feet in height in lieu of the maximum 3.5 feet allowed by code. I'll describe an application and plans on file.
Okay, and who do we have speaking, please?
Hi, this is Sri Ramaswamy.
Okay,
I
and I
am not
presume
able
you
to-
reside at Ranchwood Lane?
I do. I'm not able to start my video. I'm not sure. If you need to let me in.
Brendan, can you take a look?
Yeah, no, there's nothing on our end. You should be able to.
There you go.
Oh, there you are. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time to attend this meeting. My name is Sri Ramaswamy, and I reside at 67 Ranchwood Lane. My application is actually to seek a variance to have a 4.5-foot fence in place of a 3.5-foot fence. So the reason I'm asking for this variance is because I understand the town views this as being my backyard, but in reality, I'm sorry, other way around. The town views this as being my front yard, but in reality, this is actually my backyard. My driveway and my front door is facing Ranchwood Lane. And this is actually, for all practical purposes, the backyard. And that's the case with all the houses on the street. The 3.5-foot fence would not provide me that's the reason I'm asking for this variance, is because the 3.5-foot fence would not give me the privacy. And I know aesthetically it might be pleasing, but really it wouldn't serve the purpose. So hence I'm asking if I could go 1 foot higher, basically go to 4.5 feet. Couple of things I just thought I'd add. This would not really change the character of the neighborhood. Hardly, it would probably not even be noticeable. In fact, 2 houses down from where I live, my neighbors have hedges which are almost 5 feet in height. And my current neighbors on either side are fully aware of this project that I'm looking to undertake. In fact, one of them emailed Rick directly, and my other neighbor, Husnieh, who lives on the east side of my house, was able to provide me a letter. I may have sent that to Rick. If not, I can share it. I have it with me.
The members have both those letters.
Okay, great.
Good. Okay. Anything else you want to add, sir?
It's a standalone fence at this point. It doesn't connect to any other fences. my neighbors on either side don't have a fence at this point. I guess if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, please.
Are you planning to do anything landscaping wise, or is it going to be right at the property line?
Primarily just on the property line. Landscaping would just be like general gardening and stuff like that, but not related to this project.
Okay, so there'll be nothing connecting, even vegetation wise, where the fence ends going back towards your house, you know, towards the block wall there.
Nope.
It'll just remain open. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, very good. All right. Other questions by the board members, please?
This is, member Wright, are there any other homes along this strip that have fences along French Road? That are fences at all, or fences above the 3.5 front yard?
Yeah, there are, they're not really like wooden fences. There are hedges that are actually higher than 4.5 feet, almost like 5 feet. But further down, there are two houses which have, I'm not sure of the exact height. They may be exactly 3.5 feet, or they may be a little higher. I've not measured them, but it's further down Ranchwood Lane.
This is member Schwartz. Oh, did you finish, Andrea?
Well, just to confirm,
Yeah,
the
go
further
ahead.
down on that have the fence on further down on Branchwood that face French Road that might be higher than 4.5, or that might be higher than 3.5.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question. Are you saying, what was the question exactly?
Sure. Are there, I didn't see, and I just didn't notice, I understand the hedges, but are there fences along French Road that are 3.5 foot or higher than 3.5 feet?
To be honest, I don't know the exact height, but there are fences. Most of the houses don't have anything. Some of them, there are two houses that do, and I'm not sure of the exact height that they have.
Sir, those are to the east of you though, right?
Yes.
I saw them.
Okay.
I don't know, Andrew, if they were 3.5 or 4.5. Didn't measure them.
And had you considered planting hedges to achieve the same effect?
I didn't. I just figured it would be a very long undertaking for them to, grow. And I'm not, I didn't think too much about it. I just figured this would be the way to go.
Okay.
Rick, I have a question. It seems bizarre to me that he would be allowed to put a 6-foot tall fence out on Branchwood, which clearly visibly
Judy.
looks like a front yard. I mean, a front yard. Can they
Judy,
do that?
it's a through lot. It's a through lot, so there's two front yards basically. There's front yard on Branchwood, front yard on French Road.
Oh, I see.
Basically, you don't have a
Oh,
rear yard for this property.
they're both. Okay, thank you.
Actually, that was going to be my question, Rick.
Yes.
Is there
That's why,
anywhere,
yeah.
is there-
It's a through lot, yeah, which we don't
Through lot,
see
yeah.
too often, right?
is there anywhere on the French Road side of his property that he could put a fence in excess of 3.5 feet
No.
without a variance?
The way we work through lots, what is the perceived rear yard, which would be the French Road side, after you meet the required front setback from French Road, that area from that line to the actual structure would be considered rear yard. So I do not know the distance from the front property line to the back side of the house to determine exactly where a 6.5 foot high fence would be allowed, but you can bet it's going to be pretty darn close to the back side of the house.
Yeah. Wouldn't
That's
really
all.
provide any resolution to the issue.
Yeah, I believe it's a 35-foot front setback requirement in the zoning district.
Yeah.
So 35 feet back from French Road is where you could start a.
Well,
you know,
you can
fence.
see his
But-
lot width there, Rick, is like 29 feet. So if
Yeah.
you turn that sideways, you're going to be right to those words block wall at least.
Right, exactly. And I think you'll see a number of fences that are up against the patios that might be higher than the 3.5 feet because they probably are meeting that setback requirement.
Right.
Oh, I thought I heard someone mention 6 feet. I'm not looking to have a 6 foot.
No, we understand, sir.
No,
We were just talking
can I
about
just,
the post.
can I just ask, do you know what the style of this fence is going to be?
Yes, just a plain fence, white vinyl fence. But what I was told by the contractor is that due to supply chain issues, it may be out in October before I get it. But he also said it's possible he may be able to get the pressure treated wood earlier, and the white vinyl fence may get delayed. And if there's a possibility that could happen, I might switch to the pressure treated one if I
So
could get it done earlier. But
So it's gonna be
at this point, I'm looking to have a white vinyl fence put in.
it's gonna be solid too.
Solid, no gaps, nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Okay, sir, thank you very much.
Thank
Is
you. I
there anyone
appreciate you
on-
taking the time.
Yes, you're welcome. Is there anyone else on the call who would like to speak regarding this application? Okay, there being none on the public hearing. Okay, does anyone need a break or are we okay? I know Heather's on a break for a minute. Everybody okay?
I need a break, you guys, please.
Heather needs a break? Okay. All right, you want to give, do you just need a few minutes, Heather?
Yeah, please, if we could do 10, that would be helpful.
Okay, is everybody okay with that? We'll break
Yep.
for 10 minutes, okay?
Yep.
Come back at 8:27. Okay, do we have everybody back in our 10-minute break here? I know Heather had to go off a little bit earlier, so we can get her on by the time she.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are you ready, Rick?
I'm ready.
Okay, so let's talk about application 7A01, which is West Henrietta Road. That's Sonny's Restaurant, for those of you who are unclear about it. Does anyone have concerns about this, about the tent? And there's a lot of general conditions that we always impose on tents that are requirements of the fire marshal, et cetera. But other than that, is anyone concerned about the tent being there?
No, and we're just approving it for one season, right? So they can
That's
try
what
it out,
they-
we can
yeah.
try it out. Yeah.
Right, right. The other thing, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
The other thing is that, there were a whole bunch of conditions when we approved the restaurant on the site, of those of you who were involved. So, it would seem to me that there would be no changes in that, because that handled outdoor seating. It handled the time that you could have outdoor seating out there. So in my mind, none of those conditions would change. Would everyone agree with that?
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
a question about that, actually. And Rick, I know you and I spent a little time talking about this, but I want to touch on it again just to make sure. So Dennis just said it was approved for outdoor seating, I heard him say. But clearly what they're doing is outdoor dining, and those are two different things under our code. So my
Right.
question,
No.
what's that?
I'm sorry, no, it was outdoor dining.
That was my question. When the
Yeah, I don't
variance
have
was
it in front of me.
granted-
but I
yeah,
think it
when
was-
the variance was granted, we're sure that the variance included outdoor dining for that area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a specific, again, I don't have it in front of me, but there were a specific amount of seats. That's kind of what I was drawing at, Ken, that, we would want to make sure that that isn't increasing in any fashion.
Yeah, I think I'd put a general condition on there that just all previous conditions still apply.
Correct.
All previous conditions in regards to outdoor dining still apply.
That would make sense.
And is there going to be a seasonal condition like shall be removed no later than?
I think you asked that question and they said October 31st is what they said.
I'm just asking, are we going to have that?
I include that language in my write-up.
Yep. Yeah, I don't remember, Rick, if there was any, that we imposed any stop gap on when they could have outdoor dining on that. I don't remember that.
No, I think it's just general, you're
Yeah.
not gonna have outdoor dining in November. and upstate.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of self-understood, right? This is a little different with the tent as Ken pointed out, with the tent needing to
Right.
come down.
Well, and that's
We
why I
don't-
kind of asked about the heating devices, because if they have
Right.
heating devices, then yeah, you might be able to go into November, or December,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have any sides either. So I think you want to maybe, condition the sides, condition, a few things to kind of keep it
Okay.
kind of plain in a little bit.
Well, Kathleen can work through that. Does anyone have any other concerns before Kathleen goes with us? As we can discuss the conditions as she goes through them, but, okay, Kathleen.
Okay, I'm just gonna, I'm writing out about the openness. All right, I move to approve application 7A-01-22 based on the following findings of fact. 1, granting of a temporary and revocable use permit will not negatively impact the health, safety, or general welfare of the community, and indeed it may have a positive impact. The applicant is seeking to provide protection from inclement weather and heat in erecting an open 30 by 30 fireproof tent that will partially cover an existing outdoor dining area for the summer and fall of 2022, providing shade where there currently is none. 2, The applicant has explored alternatives such as table umbrellas without success due to excessive wind and theft. 3, if the permit is granted, there will be no negative effects on the facility as limited outdoor seating has already been approved by this board, and the tent will not have lighting or music. The applicant discussed that there continues to be ample parking. 4, granting of the request will not result in a change in character of the neighborhood or be detrimental to surrounding properties, as the location of the proposed tent is behind the restaurant and not visible from the road, and is partially blocked on 2 sides by landscape trees and a large parking lot. Conditions. 1, the application is granted as per the application submitted and testimony given for use of May through and including October 31st, 2022. 2, all conditions related to outdoor dining previously put in place remain in effect. 3, the tent must be removed no later than November 1st, 2022 and stored indoors. 4, the tent must remain open with no sides. And 5, all necessary fire marshal permits shall be obtained.
Okay. Think of anything else, Rick?
No, I can't.
I think their trash and all that stuff was in the outdoor dining previously, so that would be in all in those conditions.
Second,
I'll second.
I got Ed for the second. Ed,
Oh,
you seconded that, right?
Sorry, I
Okay,
thought that was
I know.
Rick asking.
I know.
Sorry about that.
okay.
The motion is to approve with conditions. Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins, right?
Yes.
Mr. DiAugustine,
Yes.
Mr. Mites,
Yes,
Ms. McKay Drury,
Yes.
Mr. Primo,
yes.
Ms. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion to approve with conditions carries.
okay, our next one is the U of R, 2 tents. They had, as was pointed out, 1 tent in the last couple of years, and now they're adding this COVID tent or whatever they're calling it. COVID relief tent. Okay, okay. Does anyone have any concerns about this?
No, I feel better asking questions. My real concern really was with tent number 2
Yeah,
and how we were gonna, prevent it from being used otherwise. And they answered my questions,
yeah, their public safety is all over the place. They patrol pretty good over on West Indian Road and down in this area, so I'm sure they'll keep a pretty good eye on it.
Okay.
So my question is that we're familiar with the 1 tent that they have for their events and probably feel comfortable giving it the 2-year approval. Do you feel comfortable giving tent number 2 with 2-year approval, or you want to see how it goes for a year before you pull them back in regards to it? Something to think about.
Oh, they didn't ask for more than the end of October for tent number 2.
Well, it was but if you see the way it was written, it was for the years 2022, 2023.
Yeah, that's how I read it as well.
Oh, did you?
I would say, given the amount of outdoor spaces that they already have in their area and their ability to maintain those, I have no issue with having that go for 2 years.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it's pretty great that they're doing that to accommodate people when it's been rough coming back, obviously, to locations after remote working. So I think it's really nice that they're doing that for their employees.
And again, if there's issues or problems, we're still under control of it, so. Okay, let's see, Judy, you have this. Does anyone have any other issue?
No, I'm okay. And I took some of Kathleen's testimony or written comments from last time.
Oh,
Change it, so bear with me, okay.
I'm gonna love it.
Okay, where am I? Hold on here. I'm getting mixed up already. I move to approve application 7A0222 based on the following findings of fact. 1, granting of this permit for 2 tents will not have a negative impact on the health, safety, or general welfare of the community. It may have a positive impact by providing protection from inclement weather with tent number 1 and offer a safer break, eating, and meeting area with tent number 2. Fact number 2, if the permit is granted, there will be no effect on available facilities from the increased population in attendance at the events under tent 1, as the events are usually less than 1 day and will not include music or lighting. The applicant has stated that there is applicant parking. 3, granting of the 2 tents will not result in a change of character of the neighborhood or be detrimental to surrounding properties, as the location of the proposed tents are within the university's campus. Now I believe I go on to conditions. Number 1, the application is granted for tents 1 and 2 as stated in the application submitted and testimony given for the remainder of 2022 and 2023. Can I stop for a moment? Because Doreen said 2 events this year, but the application says 3. Should we do 3?
Yeah, I don't think it, I think they probably already had their earlier event, graduation.
Yeah.
No,
Graduation's
I mean,
happening.
if they had a 3rd event, are we really gonna?
Okay.
worry about it, right?
Okay, so we'll add then, where we say, given for the remainder of 2022 and the year 2023 for up to 3 events per year. Tent 2 will be up from now to the end of October 2022. Okay.
Wait, do you want to make that a separate condition that tent 2 shall be removed?
Oh, that's down further. Yeah, should I say?
Okay, I think then just, I don't think you need to let that last portion of what you said there.
So take out tent number 2 will be up now till the end of October?
Yeah, I think you can put that down in the condition where we just talk about tent number 2.
All right, hold on, let me just draw an arrow. Okay, number 4.
Wait,
Number 2 will only be used during working hours.
Judy, can I just?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're on condition number 2. You said number 4.
The application granted for application 2. I'm sorry, 2. My numbers are mixed up. All right, 2. Tent number 2 will only be used during working hours by U of R staff for said purposes and will be monitored by campus security. 3, all trash shall be carried out and disposed of in the receptacles at the building entrance. And maintenance will dispose of all trash daily. Am I on 4 now?
Yep.
Okay. Poles and tent number 2 will be taken down at the end of October and stored inside the building. Okay. And then all necessary fire marshal permits shall be obtained. It's number 5, I guess. That's it.
Can we add the words each year to the end of condition number 4, please?
Sure.
End of October each year. That's what you want to say, Ken?
Yes, please.
End of October each year. Thank you.
Okay. We have a second, please.
A second.
Okay.
The motion is to approve with conditions. Ms. McKay Drury,
Yes.
Mr. Mikes,
Yes.
Mr. DeAugustine,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Primo,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz.
Yes.
Motion to approve with conditions carries.
Okay. All right, so the next application relates to Dale Road and the fences, plural. Okay, so why don't we go around on this one here? Kathleen, what do you think about this?
This is the MRI, I'm sorry.
Nope, we're talking about Dale Road by Corbett's Pond.
Oh,
Bad fences make bad
Yep.
neighbors.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I went back and forth, but ultimately, in my mind, I understood what they were trying to do, and I don't think it really harms any of the neighbors who already have the 6-foot tall fences. And I think if I was provided some bit of comfort by Rick saying that the most affected party went in and looked at the application and then ultimately chose not to file an objection or come to the meeting. And so that pushed me into the area of saying I would approve it.
Okay. Ed, what do you think?
I mean, it's one of those things you look at and kind of say it's a shame because there really only needs to be one fence there. I mean, the idea that you have two fences within inches of each other just seems strange, although I guess it's on the applicant's property. So I guess if they feel that that's what's necessary, then the issue is, do we think there's any harm from the variance? And I guess I really don't see it. It just seems like an unfortunate situation.
Sounds it. Okay, Judy.
I don't have a problem. We have a situation on our street with two fences that could not be more than 3-4 inches apart. Okay, right together and whatever. No, I feel that this really will enhance their property, and I think it'll be lovely and fine with it.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I agree. And allowing it, I think that they certainly should have the ability to sort of recover the aesthetic to which they were accustomed.
Okay, Andrea.
Yeah, variances were meant in part for weird shaped lots with weird situations, and that's what this is.
Okay, Heather.
Just to make sure that I understand they would be able to put the fence just like they're talking about, but it would have to only be 3.5 feet tall.
Correct.
So they could do that either way, and then the variance the variance is just letting them do that, but it's taller.
Correct.
To match the rest of it.
Okay, so I mean, by that logic, I don't see how, there's certainly no problem, because otherwise it would just be a 3.5 foot tall fence, and then they would see a neighbor's fence beyond it. So there's really no reason why it doesn't make sense to let them do it. I think that it's weird to have two fences. Like Judy, that's interesting to me that you've seen that, like you have that near you. Like I've actually never seen it, but knowing that people can freely do that whenever they want to me kind of makes it all a non-issue. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it really happens quite often with the chain link fence, and then the person in the backyard wants the privacy fence.
Right, where there's pools.
All the time, with that chain link fence, and then the weeds start growing through the chain link fence.
Yeah, right.
So.
But I do think, I just want to jump in here. I do think it's a mistake to presume that the other fence, the allegedly offending fence, will continue in any way, right? We have a homeowner who's asking for a variance to put up a fence. We don't know what the other homeowner is going to do. They could remove the fence. They could come in and ask for their own variance. We don't know. Or some future owner could remove the fence. So, if the goal here is to, as I think Heather put it well, simply allow these homeowners to extend the fence they can already put up, a higher fence than what would otherwise be allowed by code. I think that's how you should look at it, really without regard to what may or may not happen on that other owner's property with respect to her fence. because we don't have control of that.
Okay. Let's just clear up one other thing as it came up a couple times in the conversation, you know, wherever this gentleman decides to put that fence and whether there's grass, mulch, whatever, you know, whatever's on his property line, he's responsible to maintain. So how he does that is really his business, but it would be his responsibility. Okay.
Yeah, when I asked about that, I was mainly just curious
Yeah.
about any portion that's his
Yeah.
neighbors. It's like, just
Yeah,
get.
I guess
The
it's pretty hard to
Congress
reach out.
Yeah, the
reach
Congress is
everywhere.
also true though, Dennis, right? Is as a zoning board, we have no authority to tell him to go on his neighbor's property in any way to maintain any portion. of it.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just his
No, if
responsibility.
anything, you know, he shouldn't be.
Right.
So.
That doesn't sound like it. Sounds like the Hatfields and the McCoys a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, so, all
Sounds
right.
nasty,
So,
sounds nasty.
All right.
all right. So are we okay on this then? I think it sounds like yes.
Yeah.
Andrea?
Yeah, just, I don't have conditions other than the fence being in the location and necessary building permit or the, fence permit. Okay, just wanted to make sure we didn't want to put anything else because we don't know exactly, we
No.
didn't have a picture of the exact fence, but given the testimony, I don't think we need to put a lot of conditions on it.
I don't think so.
Do you think,
Okay.
Rick, do you think there should be a condition that the fence be erected in compliance with the town fence code?
Solid?
With respect that it's solid, that the
He
decorative.
did
side-
say that. He just didn't say he didn't know
He
which
said that, but I
material.
don't think we want to condition it that it be solid. I mean, it's really up to him if he, I mean, the point is that he's going to do a solid because he wants to block the neighbor's fence.
Right. Be
But-
kind of pointless to
But
do
we
it.
need
I was more talking about the decorative side facing.
The
I'm
nicer
sorry,
side,
Andy,
but
I lost you kind of faded out on me. You were required what?
That the decorative side face the adjacent property.
Well,
It-
that is a code requirement.
Right. Yeah, we don't usually restate the code. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fine.
all right.
He was obviously aware of it too. Okay, you all set, Andrea? Sorry, we keep
Yep.
chipping in here. Go ahead.
That's okay. I move to approve application 7A-03-22, et cetera, all as described in the application and then the plans on file based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the granting of the requested variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to nearby properties. The proposed fence is a replacement of a similarly sized fence constructed in the rear yard of a neighbor's property and is consistent with other similarly sized fences in the rear yard along that driveway to the applicant's home. Given the flag lot nature of this parcel in the neighborhood, the fence will continue to appear to be a rear yard fence. Number two, the requested variance is not substantial for the same reason. The existence of this fence at that height, if constructed at the neighboring property by the neighboring property owner, would be permitted. Number three, the benefit sought by the applicant cannot reasonably be achieved by any other method, as the homeowner seeks to create an attractive and consistent driveway entry to their property. Given the limited yard space between the current fence and the driveway and the height of the neighbor's fence, applicant is not able to accomplish their goal without a variance for a higher fence. Number four, there is no evidence that the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Conditions, number one, the variance granted herein applies only to the location and the height of the fence described in and in the location as depicted on the application and in the testimony given. Number two, all necessary permits must be obtained.
Second,
Okay. Second, yep.
Got Judy for the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The motion is to approve with conditions. Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. McKay Drury,
Yes.
Mr. Mites,
Yes.
Mr. DeAugustine,
Yes.
Mr. Primo,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
yes.
Ms. Tompkins Wright.
Yes.
Motion to approve with conditions carries.
Okay, very good. The next is the PET scanner situation. This has gone on for quite a few years in various places. We've had it over on Westfall. We've had it here. And to the best of my knowledge, Rick, I don't think we've ever had any problems with anything related to these. They clearly are clearly are just helping the community to. when
Yeah,
these
we've had quite
machines-
a few around town.
Yeah, when the machines go offline. Okay, any concerns by anybody? Otherwise, Heather, you can go ahead there.
Okay. I move that we approve application 7A-04-22 for the renewal of a temporary use permit, which was previously application number 10A-11-20, to allow a mobile MRI scanner in a trailer to remain for an additional 18-month period, where it would not be allowed by code based on the following findings of fact. One, the temporary use permit is not substantial in that this is already a commercial or institutional use area bordered by East River Road and the highway I-390 with existing mature vegetation blocking residential homes. Two, the requested time duration is the minimum relief necessary for the reasonable use. Per the testimony given, the plans are there's a backlog of MRIs needed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The long-term plans is to have a third MRI unit installed in the building, which is expected to happen in early winter. And then another one of their MRIs will be going offline at that time. And so therefore, the requested duration will hopefully take them through the time period, at which point they'll have 3 working MRIs in the building. 3, the minimum, there's a minimal effect on the available facilities, given that the building was constructed with a plan or at least a capacity to have up to 3 MRI machines. So it has the necessary facilities, including parking, in place. 4, will not cause a substantial change in the character of the neighborhood, since this is already a medical building. The trailer has already been present for 18 months. 5, rather than endangering the health, safety, or general welfare of the community, this permit is aimed at providing access to needed health care following the pandemic. 6, the interests of justice are served by allowing the permit to be extended to allow for the full reduction of the backlog of needed MRIs. With the following conditions: 1, it is limited to extension of a permit as described in the application and testimony given. 2, the trailer and covered walkway shall be removed within 2 years. That was how it was conditioned previously. I just want to note that for the record. And 3, all necessary permits shall be maintained.
So Heather, you're giving them an extra 6 months?
Well, that's what we did previously. So I wanted to discuss it for the actual removal. It sounds like that's what we did. We approved it for 18 months and then
He did say August, which puts us at about 13, 14 months. So I think he did build in a little bit of time that's for another 4 months. So, you know, I don't have a problem going with the 18. I don't know what the board feels, if you want to give them 2 years and say, who knows what's going to happen in the supply chain, whether or not they'll be able to complete this in that time frame or not. It has been out there for 2 years already. I'll leave that up to the board to make a call on. They did ask, the only reason that they did ask for 18, they didn't ask for 2 years, so.
Yeah, probably don't want it out there for winter either, you know, so.
Well, I think that it is used through the seasons.
It is used through the season.
Right,
Yeah.
no, I understand, but to have it out there another season, you know.
Okay, so do you just want to go through your conditions again real quick, just so Holly has that correct?
Yep, so with the following conditions: 1, it is limited to the extension of the permit as described in the application and testimony provided. 2, the trailer and covered walkway shall be removed within 18 months. And 3, all necessary permits shall be maintained.
Second,
Don't know if we need 3 on that.
Yeah, I said maintained because I'm assuming that they've already obtained permits. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think the walkway got a permit for when they constructed it. But I don't believe there's any other like building permits that are necessary for them to maintain it. So we can dump number 3, strike number 3.
I have no problem with that.
So those 2 conditions.
all right, how about a second?
Holly, you got that okay?
Yeah. Member Wright seconds.
Thank you.
Okay,
The motion is to approve with conditions. Mr. Primo,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. DiAugustine. Matt,
He's muted.
No, I said yes. Sorry. I
okay,
don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's okay.
Mr. Mike,
yes,
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins, right?
Yes.
Ms. McKay Drury.
Yeah.
Motion to approve with conditions carries.
okay, so the last application is Ranchwood and French Road. This is the rear yard that has 2 fronts and 2 backs, whatever it is. So it's kind of an odd situation there, but when you look along there, there's various buffers, there's trees, there's bushes, there's a couple fences there. So everyone probably has the same problem with French Road. So, okay, any concerns here?
No, when I was there, he said, and I think, was it Andrea or Heather who was concerned about vegetation? He is setting it behind the trees that are there.
Right.
So there is really a lot of vegetation on their property already. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. I think
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
Okay, any concerns by anyone else? Okay, I've got this.
So, well, can I just real quick, I mean, did you notice how much higher that yard kind of sat from the sidewalk? So that it's, I feel like 4.5 is gonna feel higher when you're walking all along French Road. May not necessarily, I'm not necessarily voting no on it. It did feel higher on that side of French Road, turn the corner, and there are other fences that seem higher because that one, the sidewalk and those yards are sort of at the same elevation. This one feels a couple feet higher in elevation from the sidewalk.
I don't know about a couple of feet, but yeah, and also I think it's going to be different if you view it from the sidewalk or you're driving by on French Road because it's a reasonable distance. Yeah, I don't think you discern a foot difference in a car. You might walking, I suppose, but I don't think you would in a car.
Right, and if you only built it according to code, it wouldn't give them any protection or privacy whatsoever. That extra foot makes a difference while they're sitting on their patio or wherever.
Yeah, just because of the way the profile of the lot is. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, any other concerns? Okay, let me go here. I move we approve application 7A05 based on the following findings of fact. 1, the request is not substantial since existing vegetation and fencing within the subject neighborhood appear in excess of 3.5 feet in height. 2, the backyard backs up to French Road and a 4.5 foot fence is the preferred alternative to provide immediate privacy for the owner. 3, no negative effect on the character of the neighborhood will result from the installation of the additional 1 foot in height of fencing as it's viewed from French Road. Conditions: 1, it's based on the testimony given and drawings submitted as to the specific location of the fence. And Rick, does he need a permit for this?
Yes.
Okay, all necessary building permits shall be obtained.
Second,
Schwartz.
Schwartz, for a second. Motion is to approve with conditions. Ms. McKay Drury,
Yes.
Mr. DiAugustine,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Primo,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
yes.
Mr. Mites.
Yes.
Motion to approve with conditions carries.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And Ed, I hope you rest up because next month we're gonna have lots of applications and you'll get 2 or 3.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, we were both supposed to have another one, but.
You were relaxing tonight. That was good, though. It's good. You look well rested.
Oh,
We
well,
don't
thank
know,
you.
we don't know if we're gonna have a lot of applications.
Now I'm just
So don't get too
relaxed.
concerned yet.
Nobody,
Um,
nobody even say the
I'm gonna-
word well rested to me.
I think all of our residents are out of money, so they can't do their projects. We're too busy paying for gas.
Yeah.
Anybody planning vacations for the first week of August, or is everybody gonna be here?
We'll be here.
Okay, just to let you know, I will be out of the office the week of July 18th. So if you need me, come visit me at the beach.
Which beach?
What beat?
He's not going to tell us.
Rehoboth Beach. No, I'll
Oh,
tell you.
Rehoboth, I love Rehoboth.
Don't worry, we'll
Great
find him
place.
if we need him.
Oh,
Rick, I
yeah.
was at Rehoboth last
I'm there,
week.
Rick.
Where are you? We
Yeah,
go
I
every
was.
year. We've gone for about, I don't know, 18 years or something like
Yeah.
that. Every
Yeah,
year.
Rehoboth's great.
I love it.
Very
there.
bad.
I had a quick question about the application that was tabled in May.
Oh, sure.
Do we think that they are going to revise and resubmit, or should we still be hanging on to their?
Hang on to it because according to the letter, they are working it out between the attorneys. So who knows
Okay.
what might come of it.
Okay, we'll hang on to it.
Yep. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Okay,
Thank
take
you,
care.
Hey, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.